My name is Orlandina Fallon, and I am the Fertile Woman. I'm an educator, motivator, professional bodybuilder. I am the People's Health Coach, here to help you to become your best selves. And this is Muscles and Stilettos. I am Wonder Woman, a wonder of a woman, a creature so fearfully and wonderfully made that even my creator had to sit back and say, "Ooh, man, an amazing Amazon, protector to all. Hell hath not the fury that I can unleash, should I or my loved ones be scorned. Mother Earth, growing potential thoughts, potential ideas, birthing those ready to be born and those ready to be reborn." Hey, Fit Fam, it's your girl, Orlandina Fallon, and I am the Fitter Woman. Thank you for joining us on another beautiful episode of Muscles and Stilettos. Now, you all know that wellness incorporates several components. It incorporates physical activity, nutrition, spiritual wellness, emotional wellness, mental health, but also it inspires us to have a joie de vivre. It's to have a positive mindset. Those are also part of wellness. And a lot of times we are so stuck in our everyday that we forget our joie de vivre. And sometimes we need to rediscover that by doing activities that we've always wanted to do, activities that we've never done, things such as maybe something as for an adrenaline junkie, such as going base jumping. Maybe for someone, it's something as exotic as tasting frog legs. For some of us, it might be exploring colors in our hair, in our makeup, and our clothes. And for others, it could be something as simple as just going on a walk, on a boardwalk, in a beach you've never been, in a town you've never gone. Having a joie de vivre reminds of the creative child that we once were. And today, I welcome Jessica Green from Down the Rabbit Hole Boutique and Wine V in Sayville, New York, as we talk about a joie de vivre. Hi, Jessica.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Um,
Absolutely.
this episode, we're talking about a joie de vivre. And I know that your wines definitely inspire joie de vivre. We are
Yes.
so honored that you were one of our sponsors for our Galentine's Day event, and it definitely brought life to the party.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you enjoyed the wine.
We did. The wine selection was great. I had a beautiful cab. My
Yes,
sister had the Moscato, and
yes.
I'm not a fan of Moscato, but the Moscato that you recommended, beautiful.
Thank
It was
you. Thank
awesome.
you.
It
It's
was
a
awesome.
Chile Moscato.
Yes, it was. Oof, it was so tasty. So, Jessica, you are a sommelier, right?
Yes.
And the owner of Down the Rabbit Hole Boutique, and Wine V. So,
Yes.
what is a sommelier?
So a sommelier is someone who actually studied wine. You mostly see an actual sommelier within the restaurant industry. They are basically the person that takes care of the wine list. They're doing the inventory and takes care of all wine needs of the guests and the restaurant. It's mostly food pairings, obviously wine suggestions, and again the upkeep of the wine list and kind of floating the floor to make sure all the beverage needs of the guests are met at a different standard. Usually, it's a higher standard of a need within a restaurant.
Now, it's a very unique field. You don't hear something very common like I'm a sommelier. Most
Yeah,
yeah, this is what I want to do. Is this something that you've always wanted to do, or you kind of fell into this path? Like, how
I
did you become a
fell into
sommelier?
it.
Oh,
Yes, I really fell into it actually. I actually originally went to school for nursing, actually physician assistant. So 2007, I actually started in the wine industry as a side job. So I went to college at Brooklyn, LAU, the Brooklyn
okay,
campus.
excellent school.
So my weekend job was actually working at a vineyard. At that time, I was not old enough to actually pour in the tasting room, so I did harvest. And harvest is really the job that you really don't see many, I guess, average person or especially a young girl doing. So
Mhm.
that is obviously picking the wines, bottling, corking the wines, labeling. everything within like the packaging of the wine, making the wine,
Wow.
the whole wine process. And it was really hard work. I was like, what am I doing? This is not for me, but I do have to pay for my education. After a year, I actually moved into the tasting room and just really fell in love with it. I actually finished my program, the nurse. I finished the nursing program, and I was a hospice nurse. So I worked with wine as well as nursing. Um, 2010, my last patient did pass away, and that's when I decided to really just take the plunge into wine and went back to school and decided to study to be a sommelier. And that's really where it started.
Oh my goodness. Now it's interesting you use the words I fell into it.
Yes.
Um, so that inspires, I would assume, the name of the boutique. But
Yes.
before we get into that, it's funny that it's not funny, but you said you were a hospice nurse. So you
Yes.
worked along a lot of death, you
Yeah.
know, sadness. But
Yes.
yet you still have this life, this
Yes.
other life. And you said this inspired you to fall into this path.
Yes. Follow
Again,
your passion. Life is so short, and working around a lot of death, and even caring for the loved one of someone that is passing, it really takes a lot. I don't want to say it's a draining, but you're giving a lot of your energy. You're continuously being upbeat and while again taking care of somebody else's loved one at a very delicate moment, in on both sides of the family, of their side and obviously of the patient. So what I jumping into hospitality, you're still being hospital, you're still taking care of others. So I guess I just have that in me.
yeah,
And then working in the tasting room, taking care of others with wine, it's still
still the same thing.
still
It's still,
hospitality.
it's still hospitality. You're still taking care of others. So,
Exactly.
so
But
now,
deciding to leave nursing behind and really just following my passion. Um, Life is just very short. 2010 was just kind of a whirlwind for me, just losing personal or very close family members to me. At that time, I was like, wow, I'm really just going to dive into what found me, really. This was just a side job that I thought would just pay for college, and I was literally doing manual labor. This is not for me, but this was the job hiring at the time, and I started tasting wine and realized I had a palate, realized I can pick out the grapes, and again, it really did find me.
it's a very adventurous thing. And a lot of times when we step out of our own box and step into something we've never done before, we don't even realize that we're really good at it and that we have a natural ability for it. And
Yes,
so by you being able to step out of the box, I don't
yes,
know if there are many women of color in this field.
no,
It's
not many, especially out east. So I did not mention that
yeah,
I'm actually from the North Fork of Long Island, and when I started, I was the only black woman working in wine at all 45 vineyards. I was the only one,
yeah,
and I enjoyed it. It's a very large community. It's a tight knit community, working with the other either winemakers, other pourers, tasting room carekeepers.
correct.
Um, so
Yeah,
it's very tight knit, but not many. It's not very, I guess, culturally.
not. If you think about it, especially if you're from the North Fork, there
Yeah,
already communities of color are not very big over there. So
no.
now, and it's not to say that sommeliers keep women of color out. It's just I have a feeling that they're just not exposed to it. It's
Well,
like,
I love that you said that.
mhm,
And even now, working with having the wine shop,
mhm,
it almost exposes me to a different community that, again, like they weren't exposed. A lot of people aren't
yeah,
exposed to wine,
correct.
even like different generations. So when they come into the shop, it's like, wow, I've never seen this grape, or anyone. Like, I never really seen this wine. So it's really my duty, I feel like, to open up that world or open up that gate and giving them the confidence and education to Do that.
But that's a perfect segue to the education. But I'm like, I want to talk about the shop first. So
Yes.
what's the name? So Jessica, you fell into this path. And I think the name of your shop is so in line with this. Tell everybody the name of the boutique.
Yes. Down the Rabbit Hole Wine Boutique.
I thought it was so when I heard it, I was like, who comes up with this? This is so unique. It's so beautiful. And I immediately thought of Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
So is that what was inspiring? I just thought of Alice falling down this rabbit hole and into this wonderful world and
Exactly.
exploring. So what inspired the name?
You're exactly right. So I am actually the third proprietor here. I took over the shop in 2019. The shop actually opened in 2007 with the original owner. She was actually a figure skater. Traveled around the world. She actually injured herself, and she's actually originally here from Sayville. After traveling the world, realizing, wow, there's really not much good wine here on Long Island, she decided to open up this very tiny little space. Her just being a fan of Down the Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland, that's where that theme came in. So fast forward to me taking over, I didn't want to touch the name. And as you mentioned, when you think Down the Rabbit Hole, you think, wow, what's next? What am I going to find in here? What's going to be different? What am I going to walk away with? Going down the rabbit hole. Anytime anyone mentions going into a rabbit hole, like it's either in conversation, finding something, and you just end up kind of in a whirlwind of whatever you may be talking about or experiencing. So I really did not want to touch the name, and I did not.
I think that that was a really good idea because I feel like it's so in line with who you are and what you do
Yeah.
with the boutique. And when I walked in, even just the way it's set up, it's not a very big boutique, but I love the fact that as you're walking in, it's just like it's taking you from the outside world
Yes.
into this other world. And you're
Oh,
going in there, and then you just see these wines along the wall. So that's was just like, this is perfect. I love
yes.
the name.
Oh, thank you.
I love the name. So, what led you to birthing down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole? What led to that?
Again, I've been in wine since 2007, mostly in restaurants. And as you can imagine, restaurant hours are very, very long. A normal shift is 11, 12 hours, sometimes even more.
Mhm.
Um, just very long hours, which I loved. I loved doing it. 2017, I actually had my first son, and I realized, wow, I cannot work these hours anymore. Not only am I a mom, I am a single mom, and I want to spend as much time with my son as possible. So I was on a venture. How can I still share my passion of wine, what I love to do, in a way that really fits best for my son and I. And I actually wanted to open up a tiny little wine bar, something that I would still be able to manage. And again, coming from hospitality, food and wine. While on that venture, one of the real estate agent actually said, I have this really tiny, tiny place. It's not a wine bar, but it may be a unique situation for you. I was like, okay. And it was confidential. The owner actually did not want anyone to know she was selling. So the realtor even couldn't show me pictures. The one picture he actually showed me, I wish I can turn this around, was actually of two shelves in the store.
Okay.
So as you when you came in, each it's all shelving.
Yes.
The bottles are kept in box. So he showed me two shelves, and I knew immediately the shop. And funny story, I actually used to shop here prior, just
Oh,
as because
God.
I love the wine, I love the selection. Um, on my way, I actually lived in Nassau, so every week when I would come out east, I would stop here just to shop, get good wine, head back home.
Yes.
So he showed me the two blocks, and immediately I knew what it was. I was like, I want to meet her. Like I booked an appointment. It was actually the day of my birthday.
Oh my God.
I met with her, and that was in February. By May, we signed the contract, switched everything over, and just the way like the stars aligned.
Yes.
She actually went back to school for nursing, and we
Oh my
literally
gosh.
did. It's so weird. How it was
Oh
just
my
it was an
God.
opportunity I could not pass up. just
No.
with, the affordability, just everything really lined up. It was actually my first time doing retail.
Okay.
So jumping into something completely new, but still in the wine world,
Yes.
my first day, it was just like, all right, here's the keys. Okay. And it was so busy. I didn't know what wines we had. I was learning the system. I didn't have like cash to give people. Like I literally, again, fell into it.
Fell into it.
So within the 2 years, how I really, almost 2 years, it'll be 2 years in May,
Mhm.
how I've really just made it my own, just taking my experiences and building this wall, is I have made it completely organic or biodynamic, and pulling varietals that no one's really ever seen, and going back to more of like, I guess, the culture,
Mhm.
and I don't know the right word, I guess,
Yes. Just giving your
introducing
yes.
a different community, especially the Black community, to different wines,
Correct.
has been amazing. So again, going back to that, when someone comes into the shop, I always like to tell people, if I did not grow up out east, I would have never. There's again, it's the wine trail out there. So that's
Exactly.
I love it.
That's your life experience you're exposed to. And that leads me to
Exactly.
the next question was just, I'm an educator. And when I read about what you do, the boutique is also a wine V. You speak about being a wine V and being an educator in your own right,
Yeah.
educating private clients, business clients, and taking them through their own journey, their own
Yeah.
coming down the rabbit hole and discovering their taste in wine.
Yes.
So, how do you do that? I love the fact that you're educating the communities around you in Sable, educating, also bringing in communities of color, the Black community that may not necessarily be exposed. Because I live in Nassau County. We are
Yeah.
not in wine country. In order for me to
Exactly.
go to wine country, the only reason why I knew of it was because I had friends that would do it. And then I went out with them, and that gave me exposure and
Yeah.
began really developing this love of wine. I still
Yeah.
don't know that much about it. I just know what I like.
And that's the most important part. I tell
Yeah.
people that you know enough when you know what you like.
Like, I know what I like.
um,
But how do you educate? What is it
yeah,
that, what stance do you take?
yeah. So that is really with Wine V. I actually started Wine V in 2015 while I was actually still working at the restaurant. And I started it because I do a lot of restaurant trainings. It was actually every Tuesday morning. We have our staff come in, and it was very, very important for me for the staff to know their wine list and what they were selling, um, and have the confidence to go to a table if they were to ask about wine to describe it, give certain flavor characteristics, and pair with their food. That was extremely important to me, and that was one of my biggest roles in the restaurant. And as I was doing that, I guess the word really spread around, and I would have different restaurant either owners or different servers or bartenders come to me and say, "Hey, can you give me a little training or education on this wine or this cocktail or whatever it may be?" And of course, it was always my pleasure. And that's where Wine V kind of bloomed. Wine V meaning wine life, which is a education based event and wine service that I do again for businesses and private clients.
And what have you seen? What has come out of that? What do you see has bloomed out of that?
Wow. From Wine V, definitely, I guess, like people leaving, like, wow. You don't realize, as an educator, sometimes you don't realize how much it really, how much people take away from what you're saying. And then at the end, you're like, all right, I just did all this speaking. Did anyone get anything? And sometimes, like, a little quiet. Then it's like word vomit. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that was great. I didn't know this. And with the questions. So that is really, it's awesome. It's really awesome. So with, I guess, the education or even the little bit of confidence that I can give someone to walk into a wine shop and really understand what they're seeing, because most wine shops are they can be overwhelming, or a
They,
wine list, going to
absolutely,
a restaurant, a
they
wine
actually
list can
are.
be overwhelming.
Yes, no, you're right. Because I can go
So
to a wine shop and I'm just like, um, whole lot of bottles here, and
yes,
some are red, some are yellow. Some are white, some are red, some are pink, and some are sweet, some are this, and you're
yeah,
just And then what are you looking for? I can't tell you what I'm looking for if I don't know what I'm looking for.
Exactly. So
So
what I like to teach is not only stepping out of your comfort zone. If you like Merlot, that's absolutely fine. Love Merlot, but there are different grapes that are similar to Merlot that may be from a different region you may have not tried. So
right.
stepping out of that comfort zone and having the confidence to try something new, or even ask the person working in the shop. Um, so having down the rabbit hole for the 2 years and how I've really combined it with Wine V is giving everyone that education that walks in here. Even if I'm not here, I like the girls to, you don't have to be a som, you don't have to be a wine enthusiast. You just have to literally have a passion for connecting with people. And being able to say, I really like this one, or I haven't tried this one, but guests really will enjoy this because. And it's those little things that I like to take from Wine V and
Yes.
install and down the rabbit hole here.
Well, I think you're doing a great job because like I said, I've been watching you on social media.
Oh,
And you present you present wine in a very unique way. You
oh, thank you.
so because usually when you see a wine shop, it's a very austere.
Yeah,
Very there's a presentation and it's something of elegance, but
yes.
you do it in a fun way. It's still
Oh,
elegant, just elegant.
yeah.
That elegance in a very fun way. You do
Yes.
your hair, you play with it. There was
Oh,
one around.
yeah.
I was like, this woman, she's taking this bottle of wine down the runway.
Oh, yeah, it's so funny how that video came along. Oh my gosh, that's a story. I obviously, I actually worked at the winery. It's Bridge Lane. I actually worked at their, I guess, sister vineyard, which is Lieb Cellars. So a few months ago, I was interviewed for Vine Pair, which is just like a beverage article online website, and I did mention. That can of wine, which I absolutely love. I love canned wines. Again, I've had bottles that range from $1,000 to canned wines. So for me, as long as it has balance, as good acidity, it tastes what it should. Um, Again, coming from a Som palate,
Yes.
there's different ranges. So a lot of people just automatically assume that if the wine is in a can or if it's in a larger or a smaller format or if it's a twist off, they just automatically assume there's not quality.
Correct.
But there absolutely is. And I just got a very rude email like, why would you recommend a canned wine and a white Merlot at that?
Yeah.
And I'm very I don't take it to heart, but I like again, it's about education. So
Right.
I did respond, this is the flavor profile of this wine. It actually is extremely dry. It's really not what you think, and this and that. Definitely stop in and try it. And so that day, I was like, this canned wine, it can work a one right. It can be as fancy as
That's right.
your
That's right.
$500 bottle or whatever it may be, and still get the job done.
Exactly.
And it's funny was my friend. She does some of my PR, and I
Yeah.
was like, "If this too much?" And she's like, "Jessica, I don't know." And I just posted.
You know what? Sometimes it's that too much, that over the top. Because I kept looking at this video, I'm just like,
Oh my god!
I thought it was great. I thought
I
it was
sold
great.
down on that wine like that day. I was like, "Oh my god, what did I do?" But it was just like something to be fun, and that's I like wine to be fun. It doesn't have. We're in a different generation now.
Absolutely.
Wine is not ruled by the old white man anymore that can afford to drink a $200 bottle every night.
Correct.
Wine is a little bit more accessible now.
Mhm.
When you buy a bottle of wine, it's most likely you're drinking it within the next few days. You're not
Absolutely.
putting it to hold. You're
No.
maybe even drinking it that night, sharing it with friends, having it with dinner, whatever it may be. So
Correct.
now the wine culture in general is completely different, and I try to highlight that. It doesn't have to be so stuck up, and
Correct.
that's what most of my learning, all of my education, especially in most of my Som classes, they are taught by very prestigious older white males, and I eat that information up. I've definitely
Yeah.
learned a lot, but I'm putting my own twist on it. I never learned about organic or natural pet nuts or the wines that I carry.
Correct.
Not one class.
That was one thing. I was like, organic, I said, okay, not only is her name unique, the shop is unique, the way
Yes.
it's set up is unique, her presentation is unique, even the wines that you carry. You said to me that no one else carries the wines that I carry. I was like, what?
No,
And
I make sure of that.
so,
Some of them, yes, but I like to pull wines where I can only get maybe if it's 2 cases. If there's 5 cases coming to New York,
yes,
I'm taking 2 of those cases. Because I can't really take more than that. It's very tiny in here.
correct.
um, but I am surrounded by other wine shops, but
Yes,
still people find a uniqueness in here. I tell people all the time, if I was to sell the everyday stuff, I would definitely make a lot more money, but I choose to sell something outside of the box. With every industry,
mm,
even if it's whatever industry, you kind of want to do something outside of your box to be unique. You have to have your own individual draw. And the store's kind of always had that. So I just put a more of a spin on it and
correct.
see kind of like how's this going to go. And it's been doing well so far. So no complaints, but it's definitely different.
It definitely is. And I think again, it really is sticking to the name of going down this rabbit hole. And
Yes.
the thing that I like about wine, I mean, I know it means you're a little tipsy, but it allows you to relax. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
fam, just wait to see where I'm going with this. What you thinking that go out there and just be
Relax, relax how much?
exactly. Don't relax and drive. Don't drink and drive.
Oh.
Like, oh, and you're drinking your wine. You're with friends,
Mhm.
you're with family. You're relaxed, and you
Yeah,
are not thinking about the everyday. You're falling back, and a lot of times that's when you get out of your own way, and life just happens. And you're
exactly.
looking at what's going on, and you're just like, I'm having a really good time because I'm not worrying about other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Worrying about everyday life.
Yes.
And so this is why I'm like, I think you're just a unique individual and unique in your presentation and unique in how you want to present wine and taking it out of the traditional. There's a place for tradition. I love tradition,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
so I love tradition. I see you still nod your head to tradition,
Oh,
but
yes.
you're saying, let's take this so now we can impart and educate others who may feel as if wine may not be something that they can step into because it's for the people that are of certain upper echelon of society and they don't
Yes.
fit in. So,
Yes.
so
Even
what?
at the vineyards, working there for over 10 years, um, I maybe within the last, I would say 3 years, I would see more people of color coming in groups to the vineyards. Prior to that, no.
No,
No, I don't know if it's just like too far or whatever it may be, but I think of kind of what you said. Like a lot of people assume that it's just for a certain type, or they may not have the wine I like. And anyone that would come in, okay, if you have a sweeter palate, let's try this. It's with any other industry. You have to know what you're working with, and
mm,
it's okay to have a sweeter palate. We only have dry wines, but you may like something a little bit more fruit forward. Again, it's my job to make anyone feel comfortable. Not many
correct,
places do that because they have oh, you only drink sweet wines. This is not for you. Go to the next place.
correct.
So I've seen even with like me, and I don't tell people, what I do for a living, especially if I go to a restaurant. Actually assumes like, oh, well, I have this sweeter red that you may enjoy. I don't enjoy sweeter
Yeah,
red. If I do, if it's a dessert, so automatically just being like, okay, she must like this. I'm
correct.
sorry, you don't
Yeah,
know who I am or what I drink. Let me
yeah,
kind of decide before you automatically put that on someone. So
absolutely.
you have to take that in consideration.
And I think that by educating others, what you do is you also empower them so that when they do turn up at a restaurant and
Oh
someone's
yeah,
laughing, they're like, hold on,
yes, and
down the rabbit hole that no, I
yeah,
can this, and I would like a Malbec and a Cabernet
yes,
Sauvignon. These are the things that I'm looking for. And now
yes.
you're armed with this knowledge. So it really
Yes,
does
even it takes
empower others.
this much. It's a mustard seed. This is what you take, and with wine, and it grows. You have your own. That it's just a little bit of confidence that you take. And last night at the event, so many people said that they're like, I'm building many psalms around here. Anyone that comes to my event or comes into the shop,
Yeah.
you are walking out. knowing something that you can bring to, again, a restaurant, a winery, your friend's house, whatever it may be, that is completely different. And guess what? You're probably the only person that knows about that grape at that moment.
Exactly.
Maybe
You're
a
like,
whole mini song right now.
so tell us about these events that you have,
Yeah.
these wine V events that you're having, especially we're, celebrating women at this moment. And so tell us about the wine Vs.
Yeah, so I usually do a taste of. I like to highlight a certain region, especially with my pop-ups. But this month, with doing woman in winemaking, so it's a taste of girl power. I am actually highlighting a Chilean winemaker. I have one from U.S. here on Long Island from Macari Vineyards. I have Esselina, and she's actually the first African American female in South Africa to make wines. Her wines are gorgeous. And I'm also highlighting for the tasting an Italian wine, Mayele, and she's doing really fun stuff with working with volcanic soils. So
Oh,
the wines are, that was one I was like, all right, let's see how people react to this one, because literally on the nose it smells like ashes, has a lot of minerality. It's a Cabernet
okay.
blend, very
Okay.
big and bold. People are blown away by it. So it's had really good feedback so far, and it's been flying off the shelf. So I think that's just really fun. And again, she is a woman winemaker. So Wine V is just really about presenting something different. Those are my pop-ups. But when you book an event with me privately, especially the in-home tastings, we kind of play around with it, have different packages. The host really gets to pick the wine, and we kind of go from there. And then I just kind of educate. So I'm bringing a tasting room to your house. That's really what that is. So it can go ranging from 4 wines to try to 8 wines. And I pour and again talk about each wine. You talk amongst yourselves, and depending. And those range from 10 people up until I've had 35 people. They get it
That,
back here. So
that is awesome. That is
yeah,
awesome.
they're really fun.
That is awesome. So where can we find you to book these
Yeah.
amazing these tastings and to attend your pop-ups? Where can we find you?
Definitely winev.com. So it's winevie.com.
So remember that joie de vivre, that
Yes.
joie de vivre, life, wine life.
Yes.
So I always ask my guests at the closing of their interviews, if you could go back in time and speak to the Jessica that was on that cusp, do I
Yeah.
remain a nurse or do I jump into this? What would you go back and tell her? Because I know it's a scary moment because you've
Oh
gone
yeah.
to school and this is what you were doing, this is what you were working for, and
Yeah.
now to completely turn left. That's
Yeah.
a scary moment. So what would you go back and tell Jessica at that time?
I'm a very ambitious person in general. So as much ambitiousness, or as ambitious as I am now, I was back then. But I would just definitely tell myself to take that leap. And when you take that leap, pick up and continue soaking up every single thing that you learn along the way, because that's what's going to help me or help you in the future. But definitely taking that leap, following your passion, and continuing that ambitious Jessica that you are.
So basically telling Jessica to stay true to herself, right?
100%. Stay
Yeah.
true to yourself. Um, that's definitely my motto. You have that gut feeling. You have that gut feeling. And even my mom was not happy when I made that transition.
Mm.
She, mostly everyone in my family, they are in the healthcare field. And I thought that was it. I was just going to be a nurse. I never thought I would be into wine. So I remember the day, like, hey, mom, I think I'm really going to take that leap of working with the winery full time and kind of leave the nursing on the side. I thought I was going to be like dismissed from the family. It didn't go very well, but
Um,
now, oh my God, she's over the moon.
um,
She hands out more cards my cards than I do. I'm like someone on the side of the road that she just met. Oh, this is my daughter. She works with wine, like handing out cards like it's no one's business. So, and of course, back then it's like, oh, what do you do in wine? What career is with wine? So it's something you definitely anyone who wine, you have to make your own lane
Yeah.
with it. So again, back then she wasn't having it, but now,
But you understand. I think our families, they want the best for us, and they
yes,
know
yeah,
what they're trying to do is guarantee your future. And she knows that in the healthcare field that it can guarantee your future.
oh yeah,
This is definitely a rabbit hole for them.
yeah.
What? You want to do what?
She was like, "What?" And my mom actually, she doesn't drink much. Like especially wine.
Yeah.
No one really in my family drinks wine.
Mhm.
I, oh my god, funny story. I don't know if you have like time,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I recently just learned. I found a cousin on my father's side. Um, he's actually my father's first cousin,
Mhm.
and he's actually into wine. But my father grew up upstate. He grew up upstate as well. Moved to the city, I think, over 35 years ago. He didn't know about me. I didn't know about him. And I guess just word of mouth, I got a message one day. Hi, my name is so and so Green. And I was like, oh, okay, another person,
Yeah.
with the same last name. They might just have like a question. It's like, I'm your second cousin. And I was like, okay. Turns out he actually is. And he's actually the one, he owns a company called Slightly Chilled, and he pioneered the African American community cultivated for doing wine events for the culture.
Are you?
Starting in the when I think in the 90s, he started this. So he would do a lot of art events in Harlem, and he just like spearheaded this culture of bringing the African American community into wine in like suburban areas, and he
Yes.
did it really, really well. Like featured in great publications, large distributors actually use. They give him a product and say, "Can you introduce this product
Yes.
to the African American community?"
Mhm.
And he's older now. I want to say he's in his mid 60s, 70s,
Yes.
and we're doing a pretty cool project together right now. I literally just met him 3 weeks ago in person, and it was just like, wait, you're into wine? So I thought I was the only one in my family from both sides that was
Okay.
into wine. But turns out, I guess it runs in the blood. And it's also his second career. He was in finance prior in his younger days, and then
He
just got.
decided to take that leap.
Yeah, and like when I say like pioneered, he's worked with a lot of really cool people and just introducing the culture to wine and like instead of mainstream grapes, kind of what I do. I again more organic and biodynamic. He just introduced maybe French wines or Spanish wines to the culture. So maybe it just runs in our blood.
Listen, just listening to your story, I'm just amazed by how many things were like intertwined.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
just,
starting to get more into that too. Like not like just learning different things like outside, like like spiritual wise or sign wise or just different mood, like all these different things I really was never into before.
yeah,
It's very eye opening, very
yeah.
eye opening. So it's pretty cool.
It is because now you're relaxed and you're listening to what the universe is sending you, and it's just sending
Yeah,
you all of these, and everything's with relaxed intention. You don't have to be on it like that, but with
yeah,
relaxed intention, things will come and continuously come
comes to you.
to come to you, and just it confirms and confirms and confirms and reconfirms that you are where you need to be and on the path that you need to go to.
Yes, and it's very comforting.
Yes.
As you hit points in your life, like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Especially when I had my son.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've actually been a single mom since day one. So,
Okay.
becoming a new mother, which is also, it's very, very new.
And it's
This
so.
year, first time working in retail, I was like, oh my God. Then you just get something in you. It's like a fire on your rear end that you shoot straight for it. You got to go for it. And I think that's the universe or everything coming into one, and then it just works out.
It
My
does.
grandmother would always say, "Don't worry. Makes no sense in worrying about it."
Exactly. It doesn't. It makes no sense. You just go with it. Go with the flow.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want to thank you for this beautiful interview. I'm going to do the closing. Don't leave. I'm just going to close.
Okay.
Okay. But Jessica, I want to thank you again for being with us today on this episode of Muscles and Stilettos, and just showing us the benefits of having that joie de vivre, and just kind of letting go and letting ourselves just go down that rabbit hole, and being able to see all the amazing things that life has for us.
Yes.
Beautiful surprises around every corner, like each bottle of wine from your boutique. Just a beautiful surprise
Yes.
around every
You want
corner.
to see it? Do you want me
Yeah,
to like?
yeah. Show us what it looks like.
Sure. So I don't know if I mentioned, but this is the smallest wine shop in New York State at 100 square feet. So it's I'll kind of maybe go from the other view here. Can see the shelving. I love the chandelier here.
It's gorgeous.
Some of the mirror gives more of a bigger depth towards it. And that's it.
That's why I told you, fam. I'm like, when you walk in, you're like, this, you feel like you're just entering the space and you're moving out, moving from the outside world into this amazing world of wines. And it's just a surprise. And you're nestled between a spice shop and a chocolate shop.
Yes. Yes, it's perfect.
Perfect.
It's kind of a one-stop shop. And again, I actually do my events at the Spice Shop because they have this a beautiful layout in there. So a lot of people, especially during the holidays, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, they're picking up your chocolates. What wine is going to go with chocolate? So it's definitely very fun. Every day is an adventure. I meet so many cool people. A lot of people actually educate me. They're coming in like, oh, I had this great wine from this, or I've actually been to this region. That's definitely on my bucket list. I would like to travel to more of these wine regions that I've done a lot of studying about. I've haven't really got to visit most of them. So having someone to come in and say, wow, I've been here, or kind of tell me about it, I lived through them a little bit.
That's awesome. But I know that you'll be there soon enough. I know that much. Because your team in place, they'll watch the shop as you go and do these tours.
Oh, yes.
These winemakers. So again, I want to thank you. And we're going to be right back. So, Fit Fam, do you see how having that joie de vivre, just allowing yourself to let go, can take your life into places that you never, ever even expected to go? It's like that Dr. Seuss book, right? Oh, the places that we will go. So, fam, wellness is not just about eating right and exercising and just having, just working and just doing. Being well is also about having a positive mindset, having a fluid mindset, and having a passion for life, finding the things that make you passionate. If you are at a point in your life where you're not feeling passionate, it's time to go back to the basics, time to get back to you and find your passion, because you were born in this world with a passion. Life happened, and sometimes we make decisions because we have to be adults and we have to be grown-ups and we have to be, do things a certain way. In the meantime, we leave our passions behind. So, fam, today I want you to walk into your day saying, what is my joie de vivre? And then stop by the Down the Rabbit Hole Boutique and Wine V, get yourself a glass of wine and have a great time. Fam, be bigger, be fitter, be stronger, be good to you, and I'll see you next time.